Director Gaines is absent and Director Fosdick has her proxy this evening. Approval of the minutes, the regular session from March 27th.
Move to approve the March 27th minutes.
Thanks, Jeff.
Second.
Thanks, Jerry. Any corrections, discussions? Nope. All in favor? Field goal? Now the work session minutes from April 17th.
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second. Thank you, JB and Jeff. Anything on those? Corrections, errors, omissions? No? All in favor? 9-0, thank you. Next is Joint Advisory Committee reports. Rep?
All right, good evening, everyone. We started with current business. JP Deviliers, one of our committee members, has resigned due to his work schedule requirements. It's anticipated that a new member will be appointed to the committee, but that person will take over Liz Howie's amenities. Will be doing some amenity swaps with that. New business, pickleball and gun range volunteers are needed for the June Cancer Challenge. In fact, I'm planning to have that posted as far as the link people can sign up at our next meeting. The gun range will begin selling merchandise, that was brought up. In the staff reports, Tom reminded everyone that the POA board elections are upcoming. Written ballot and electronic access will be rolled out beginning this week, which was last week. Rick reported that the Rangers had 4,290 contacts in March. And that's up from the 965 in February and 2,824 in March. We have 2 new Rangers. Brittany is full. Lake Bowie locations are being checked and fixed where necessary. Granton and London dredging will occur this week. That was last week. And I don't think they've gotten around to it because of the weather as of yet. Any members catching grass carp should report those catches so that they can enter the raffle. John reported that the gun range usage in March was the same as 2024. We hosted a trap and skeet tournament. Rifle and pistol ranges are open. Trey reported the trail usage was up 20% from March of 2024. Weekday averages were approaching weekend numbers. That's encouraging. We're hosting an enduro light race. I'm not sure they announced when that is. Let's see, the Trailblazers are contacting all those who agreed to trail maintenance to rejuvenate that commitment. Visitors. A proposal to add ping pong tables to the BVRC was suggested by one member, and another that the Metfield pickleball area be expanded. London Park, as far as the amenity reports, London Park all was reasonably in good shape considering the effects of the recent rains. No report for Loch Lomond. Blowing Springs and Gear Garden, it was suggested that it would be helpful to have written brochures at the check-in booth covering Blowing Springs and having actually a trail map. We currently have nothing, but it has been requested by several guests. Tyree Park, it was noted the picnic table near the water's edge is in dire need of repair. Let's see. Kingsdale Complex, and I believe this has been brought up before. It was suggested that we resurface tennis courts 3, 4, 7, and 8. Lake Ann, it was suggested we paint the railing leading to the dock before they rust out. Metfield Park and Clubhouse. Member feedback included questions on plans to expand and update the fitness facilities as well as expanding the pickleball courts. It was also expressed to me personally that members feel the Metfield area is often overlooked. Blowing Springs Greenway Trail, most items of note involved recent storm debris. That's all we had. Next committee meeting is May 12th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom. Thanks.
Thank you. Tom, you have Lakes? Lake Committee.
Lake Brittany is now full pool, and so the well has been shut off, the well that was refilling it. Lake Norwood valve has been closed, and we'll start refilling with all the rain coming our way. Chris Fuller gave a riveting presentation on, I barely made it through it.
It was informative and very well done.
Anglers are strongly encouraged to harvest small bass and refrain from harvesting sunfish. Anglers are also encouraged to remove grass carp from all lakes. 60,000 threadfin shad have been stocked in Loch Lomond, and Matt Champagne and Michael Coughlin have their terms are coming due and would like to continue to serve on the committee. Scott Sporoff, his term is coming due also. He is not wanting to re-up, and they have one opening on the committee. That's a report for the Lakes.
Thanks, Tom. Miss Ruth Golf.
Okay, we're ready for golf. Darryl Muldoon with Golf Operations. March was a good month for golf, only finishing 225 rounds behind last year's numbers, which is pretty good with the Highlands course closed and being done for fairway renovations. Range buckets are down to the closure of Tanyard Creek practice facility for its remodel. It is up and running and very well received. People were really excited about it. Range buckets ended at 6,207, which is down 2,299 over last year. Graham Kornmeyer in maintenance. The grass is greening up nicely on all golf courses, and they want to get to the end of the month and truly evaluate how much or how far the winter kill really was, but it's looking very good so far. Cart paths over the winter has been really helped turf conditions in the spring at Country Club especially. Even majority of the rough is in good shape. So the carts on path for the two courses were very well received and looks like it's going to be very beneficial. Final touches to the grading around the building in Tanyard Creek. Sidewalk and the road is taking place, and the area has been resodded, and the areas will be currently with ryegrass. Okie dokie. Highlands Soil conversion. Continue to see the plants coming through the sand every day. We think that we have the end of the April, we will see some nice establishment and able to begin aggressive fertilizer applications to push the growth quickly. And it appears to be a little ahead of what it was last year at this time when it was planted a little later, so that helped considerably. We had some exciting news brought to the attention. Hannah Hellier presented the funds or the finding of the documents for the Future Golf Academy here in Bella Vista, a youth program, which is very exciting. The full document was available and it's online. Among the many goals of the Academy is a $1,000 scholarship for high school seniors with a GPA of at least 3.5 or higher, and $500 ambassador program for local junior golfers to help them alleviate travel expenses as they participate in tournaments. Financial aid for underprivileged juniors pursuing golf is also available, and rental clubs will be needed to assist with this, providing the fitted clubs for some of the members. Young golfers become lifelong golfers. So that's the group we want to hit, and it seems to be working well, and we're excited to have that program up and running and excited to hear about it as we go. So, any questions, comments?
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Finance reports, Beth.
All right, we're gonna go over the March financial overview. I thought rain lately was appropriate.
Went from snow to rain.
Yes, exactly. But spring is sprung, and the people are out there enjoying our amenities. So, looking at consolidated first, for just the month of March, revenue is $3,560,000, which is better than budget and prior year. And operating expenses are $2,421,000, which is also better than budget, more than prior year. And EBITDA is coming in at $675,000 for the month, which is less than prior year, but over $300,000 better than budgeted. And year-to-date numbers, we're still seeing the lingering effects of the January and February winter, even though March was trending upward. Revenue stands at $9,340,000, which is still a little bit less than budget, but still more than prior year. And operating expenses are $7,220,000, which is more than prior year, but $200,000 better than budget. And EBITDA year-to-date is $885,000, which is less than prior year, but better than budget. Looking at POA only, year-to-date, revenue is at $6,358,000. Again, less than prior year and less than budget, still digging out from winter. Operating expenses, $5,920,000, are more than prior year, but less than budgeted. And EBITDA is $459,000 for the POA, which is $34,000 worse than budget, and $768,000 worse than prior year. Looking at the revenue for the quarter, you'll see the actual is the dark orange. So we started out January and February under budget in prior year, but you see that March is nearly the same as budget and prior year, so it's trending upward. In March, golf fees met the budget and exceeded the prior year by $7,000, despite the closure of Highlands and the delayed opening of Tanyard. Annual cart fees were better than budget. Income on resale of lots was $31,000, and facility use fees were $15,000 better than budget. Assessments were $12,000 worse than budget, but $8,000 better than prior year, and pro shop sales $9,000 worse than budget. That's for the month of March. Looking at the operating expenses for the month of March, salaries and wages were $52,000 better. Supplies, chemical supplies, $40,000 better. Rec supplies, $25,000 better. Maintenance and repair, $21,000 better. Worse was health insurance, and was $53,000 worse. Liability insurance, $16,000 worse, and electricity was $12,000 worse for the month. But looking at the graph, you'll see in total the operating expenses of $2,025,000 was less than budget, more than prior year. Looking at golf specifically, you'll see the graph on the right has the per course golf revenue for the month of March. Metfield and Country Club were both better than budget and prior year. Scottsdale and Kingsdale were less than budget, but more than prior year. And Highlands is closed except for the driving range. In total, golf fees met budget, as I said earlier. Annual cart rentals were better. Annual green fees were worse for the month. Tanyard Creek had $23,000 budgeted, but it was delayed opening. And Highlands is closed. Pro shop sales were $9,000 worse than budget in March. Year to date, still digging out from winter, golf fees are $191,000 worse than budget and $113,000 worse than prior year. And also the annual cart rentals and green fees are worse than budget still year to date. Taking a look at F&B, you'll see in the graph that for the month of March, revenue was $374,000, which was less than budget, but more than prior year. Cost of goods sold was the same, similar. Expenses were more than budgeted in prior year for the month, and EBITDA was just a little bit worse than budgeted and prior year. Member discounts were $32,000 in March and $79,000 year to date. The cost of goods sold year to date was 44%, but is trending better at 39% in March. Looking at water now, water's experiencing some growth. Year to date, the revenue is $2,983,000, better than budget and prior year, $160,000 better than budget, and $351,000 better than prior year. Cost of goods sold is more, as you would expect. Operating expenses are $21,000 better than budget and $58,000 better than prior year. And EBITDA for water Year-to-date is 70,000 better than budget and 210,000 better than prior year. You'll look at the chart for the quarter, the revenue. We started out, the actual is the dark blue line, so it started out quite a bit more than prior year, just under budget. But then you'll see in February, we beat budget, in prior year. In March, that gap just increased. A lot of that is due to, in March, new water connections revenue was 57,000 better than budget, and capital buy-in fees was 66,000 better than budget, and water sales were 16,000 better. That graph is cost of water and operating expenses combined, sorry. Actual is less than budget and more than prior year. Supplies, equipment, and tools was 27,000 better. Maintenance and repairs was 55,000 better. You'd expect cost of water to be worse with the increased sales, and employee benefits with the health insurance was 19,000 worse. Looking at cash at the end of March, water had operating of $4,058,000 and reserves of $1,569,000. POA had operating of $1,356,000 and reserves of $984,000. And looking at the one-pager, so these EBITDA variances are before allocations on a department basis. Golf maintenance, lakes and parks, maintenance and construction are the winners, better than budget. Worse than budget are the courses and the pro shops, food and beverage, general income. In total, the POA is 34,000 worse than budget on EBITDA before allocations, and water is 70,000 better than budget. Our debt, POA owes water $3.1 million, and the bank loans stand at $5.9 million, and I think we've covered everything else here. Do you have any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Thanks, Ben. Do you want that on? Next on the agenda is open forum. You don't want to speak, do you?
Unless you want to hear about the top 5 world's busiest airports with career objectives.
Maybe next time. No emails, right, Jessica? Okay. Okay, so there's no response to any of that. Proposed assessment increase, Tom.
We talked about this at the work session, and also it was originally brought up at the November community budget meeting about going for an assessment increase. And I'm trying to find the memo and having absolutely no luck at it. What we're requesting is a $5 increase for improved properties, a $1 increase for unimproved properties. The critical dates, members must be in good standing by May 31st of this year. The vote would commence June 23rd. It would end August 19th. And the vote would kick in, become effective, the assessment increase would become effective March 1st of 2026. The need is related to inflation. Social Security benefits went up 15% over the last 3 years, and this increase that we're requesting is 12.5%. The board would make the same commitment that they've made previously, a 3-year commitment to keep all our amenity usage fees the same. Unfortunately, if the assessment increase does not go through, quite a number of amenity usage fees would have to be increased. AGGF fees would go up by $150 a year. 18-hole pay-as-you-play golf would go from $33 to $40. Range buckets for those with an activity card would go from $0 to $1, and a variety of other increases that are detailed in the board packet that you can view online. We're going to hold 3 informational meetings, so members come in and ask questions. First one is June 2nd at BVRC at 4 p.m., June 16th at Branchwood at 10 a.m., and June 18th at Metfield at 4 p.m. In addition to that, Jessica has been booking me crazy, and we have 27 speeches booked, so we can get the word out and address questions and so forth. Any questions? We covered this in much more detail at the work session, so if you're at home, this is the first meeting that you viewed. I encourage you to also look at the work session.
Did you want to say something? No?
I just would like to say that I think it's a very reasonable request based on the inflation that we've seen. And the POA has been absorbing all those costs over the last 3 years, so this isn't even gonna make up for what's been spent. It's just trying to get it back to par. Also noting that we've honored the 3-year commitment for the last 6 years, and I think everybody should have confidence that we'll continue to do so should they decide to pass this.
One point that Jackie, Director Gaines, really wanted to stipulate at the work session was that this would be 9 years in total where our amenity usage fees would not change, and that's very, very impressive for golfers to not have an increase in their fees for that long is really quite impressive and a good value to our membership.
If nothing else, we need a motion.
I move that the POA hold a vote for the membership to seek a $5 monthly increase for improved property values and a $1 monthly increase for unimproved properties, with the vote commencing on June 23rd, 2025 and ending August 19th, 2025. If approved by the membership, the increases for improved and unimproved properties would go into effect on March 1st, 2026. Additionally, if the assessment increases are approved by the membership, there would be no charge in amenity usage fees, no change in amenity usage fees for a period of 3 years, February 28, 2029.
Thank you, Jeff. Second. Thank you, Jerry. Any further discussion? Yes.
Should that stipulate what amenity fees are not gonna go up? I mean, I know we've spelled it out.
That's why I included it in the board packet, so it was clear what fees we were talking about.
Anything else? All in favor of the assessment increase vote? Thank you.
All right. Each year, just prior to the start of the board vote for board members, we do a report on non-performing lots. These are lots that are not paying assessments. These are delinquent accounts, but also lots that are owned by the POA. If you recall back in the day, the POA owned 700 lots. We're way down from there. So at the year end 2015, so 9+ years ago, 20.6% of our lots were not current with their assessments, were not paying. As of March 31st of this year, we've been able to lower that to 2.3, which is an impressive, if not Olympic record for a community of our size. That means that we've gone from 8,035 lots that were not paying any assessments all the way down to 906. It will get ever more challenging to bring that number down even further because low-hanging fruit was gone years ago. And these are ones that are really challenging. They're in bankruptcy and so forth, so it's just really challenging to get lower. But our team will continue to strive to lower that. Interesting facts, over over that same period from 2015 through current, the number of improved lots has gone from 13,449 up to 16,642. So that's an increase of 3,200 additional homes. As I indicated, the number of lots owned by the POA, which was 700 several years ago, is down to 47, and even lower than that because Doug had a judicial auction and sold off 10 more. So, and a judicial auction also since then, I think. The numbers keep on coming down. So, yeah. So, compliments to legal, accounting, database, and everybody involved. If you look at the graphs, they demonstrate a constant effort. This is not a one-time thing. This is over a 9-year period of sustained effort. Very impressive, in my opinion.
There's a comment here, and it does pertain also to the assessment increase. Invariably, when you go out to your meetings, you're going to have people say, well, you've got all these lots paying dues. You don't need an assessment increase. But that additional income that we've worked so hard to get, or excuse me, Doug and his team have worked so hard to get, well, I know. All those people worked on it, okay? I don't want to name anybody, but anyway, that is what has allowed us to only ask for $3 last time and $5 this time because we've had that additional income. The flip side of that increase in improved properties is that it means we have more people wanting to use the amenities, which creates demand for amenities and also creates more maintenance on the amenities. So it's obvious, you know, that people want to be a part of Bella Vista because they're snapping up the lots as quick as they can. And, you know, so it's a good place to be, but it takes money to keep it going. So these numbers, while they're good, they present problems also. So that was my comment, and I waited to say it about the assessment increase, but, you know, good job, folks.
Well, I'll piggyback off that just real quick too. Something else that I encourage everybody to remember. Look at all the improvements and facilities. This money's being put to use back into the facilities. It's not just going to somebody's pocket somewhere. We're trying to make everything better, and that costs money, and it's not going to get any cheaper. And I just hope everybody can consider that when they're making their decision.
Well said, David.
That report is available on our website for those who would like to read through it. The next one is the annual audit. The audit committee met with our auditors on April 15th, reviewed the audit, the draft version of the audit, and unanimously recommended for the board that it get approved. This was added to the work session at the last minute, it is available on our website. You're welcome to read the audit. In fact, I think we have about 15 years worth of audits available on our website. I'm very pleased to also state that it is another clean audit with no adjustments. So kudos to Beth and her team for an outstanding job.
Yes. How many is that in a room?
A lot.
Well done.
In accounting terms, that's a lot.
That's like, okay. I don't know what accounting school you went to. Close enough. Okay, that's great. We need a motion to approve.
I make a motion approving the 2024 audit, annual audit as recommended by the audit committee.
Thank you, JB.
Second.
Thank you, David. Any further discussion? We talked about this a little bit at the work session. Nope. All right, all in favor? Thank you.
And if you go to the website and you see the audit and you see that it's draft, it is draft until the board approves it. So, we do not anticipate any further adjustments other than the board approving it. The last two items have to do with policies. At this point, the board has discussed this multiple times, changes to policy 1.01, which is member access to association information, and policy 1.04, joint advisory committees. If you're at home, this is the first time you watched it, please go and look at the March Rules and Regulations Committee meeting. You'll get more information from that meeting.
And any discussion in work session from the last two
Yeah,
months.
correct. So, but the board kind of races through this. It's because they've talked about it multiple times at previous meetings.
And we didn't race through it because we did send it back a time or two. And
Yes.
This is true. I mean, if we appear to race through it in this meeting.
in this meeting, yeah.
I believe we could quote it at this point.
I think so.
I make a motion to approve suggested changes to policy 1.01, member access to the association information. This is the second and final reading of 2 required readings.
Thank you, David.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. Any further on this one? Nope. All in favor? Thank you. Motion for 1.04.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the suggested changes to policy 1.04, joint advisory committee. This is the second reading of the 2 required readings.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second.
Thank you, Deborah. And any further, she beat you to it, David. Any further discussion on this one? Nope. All in favor? Thank you.
In all of those policies, the changes are highlighted and available on in the packet on our website. That was all I had. That was all I had.
Just all.
All the information is available on our website.
Is there anything else to discuss before we go into announcements? Manager. Okay. The announcements. Board of Directors general meeting is May 5th at 2:30 in the boardroom. That is a closed meeting, and note the date change for the board members. Recreation JAC meeting is Monday, May 12th at 4 here in the boardroom and live stream. Lakes JAC meeting is Wednesday, May 14th at 2 p.m. boardroom and live stream. Bruce Golf JAC meeting is also the 14th at 4 p.m. here in the boardroom and live stream. The next Board of Directors work session is Thursday, May 15th at 9 a.m. and that is here in the boardroom and live stream. The annual meeting of members election results is Tuesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom and live stream. And the next Board of Directors regular session is Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom and live stream. That brings us to the end. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn.